What's going on, everybody? It's Evil Eddie from Pure Evil MMA here on episode number 14 of Evil and Intoxicated, of course, from ProWrestlingAuthority.com. And that guy up there is Ted Check. Ted, what's going
Yes,
on,
sir.
boss?
Hey, Eddie, how you doing?
I'm doing awesome, man. How was your weekend?
Yeah, it was good, man. It was good, and yeah, back to the grind. And I'm just excited. I'm excited for the people that are joining us on our chat room. I'm excited for this weekend. We've got some UFC stuff coming up, and you know what? One thing we were doing our show prep, Eddie.
Yeah.
I forgot that. Oh, and now I'm frozen. Now we're both frozen.
No,
Oh,
just
there we
keep it
go.
going.
Now we're
Just,
back.
just keep it going.
I was like, I'm frozen. Anyway, Ryzen. There's the Ryzen Grand Prix starts this weekend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I looked at a video of the press conference, and there was Gabby Garcia, all made up and still looked like a dude. I just have to say. But anyway. So I'm excited about that, and I'm excited about The Magnificent Seven, that Western movie with Denzel Washington and Chris Pratt. So I'm going to probably take my family to see that. That's going to be good. I'm real excited about that.
How often do you go to the movies, Ted? Do you bring your family to the movies a lot?
No, I mean, every now and then. When something big comes out, Avengers or whatever, Captain America. Every now and then.
Well, if we got any new listeners in the room, you are listening to Evil and Intoxicated, episode 14. Me and Ted do the show every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. We're also turning it into the podcast as well, and we're going to try to get Ted a new microphone. So it's going to sound a little bit better for everybody, because sometimes you can't catch a Wednesday night show. You want to listen to the next day, but you're on your way to work and can't really pull up YouTube. What better than a podcast to listen to, and what better than Evil and Intoxicated? So we're going to work on that. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. The open chat room is open for questions. We have fun segments set up for everyone tonight, and the way we usually start the show off is we discuss last weekend's fights, but right now, just really checking in with each other. We do the show every Wednesday night on the T. We try to make it on the T, but it's a hit or miss sometimes. But every Wednesday night, Ted, besides going to the movies this weekend, what else did you do, brother?
What else am I doing this weekend? Probably mowing the lawn. Real exciting life I lead, you own a house and you have a yard, you got to mow it. That's the trade-off, just hanging out here in suburbia with all the other schmoes. But that's probably about it. Watching the UFC, filming some vids. That's about. Taking my kids to their sports, that's about it. How about you, Eddie?
What am I doing this weekend? Well, I'm looking forward to the fights, and of course, you guys listening know that every weekend I do the live tweets for everybody, trying to keep everybody up to date. But did you get to watch this weekend's fights, Ted?
Yeah, man. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think we talked about this before, and we're just going to go over the top two, right? The top two fights that happened on the card. Yeah,
and it was crazy. Those two fights, it's like totally what we expected, but not really who we expected. You know what I'm talking about?
Right, absolutely. I mean, Poirier versus Johnson and Brunson versus Hall, two finishes there, and that really really changed the landscape in those two divisions. You look at Poirier versus Johnson. And I picked Poirier. I was wrong. I was too,
man. And we talked about it last week. We asked so many people about this, and not many people were pulling for MJ to win this, and yet his back up against the wall. We were talking about it last week, man. And of both guys who could lose right now, Dustin is in a little better position than MJ was. He might have been cut after that loss. So it would have been his third loss in a row, I think.
Yeah, he looked good in training. I saw it was like a brief training clip that I posted, fighting in the Black Zillions. But I looked at I rewatched the fight tonight, and what I saw was, okay, so Poirier gave him a 1-2, bang bang, and Johnson took it. He absorbed it, and then he followed with his own, bang bang, and that's what did it for Poirier. I mean, Poirier has probably had a speed advantage, but Johnson had the strength or the the heavier hands.
That's what I was about to say.
So Poirier gave him the 1-2 and then stood there. What he needed to do was, if he was fast enough, move out of the way. But he gave him the 1-2 and stood there, and then boom, boom, he took a 1-2.
Well, I think I was watching. I think Joe Rogan pointed out his feet were in the wrong place, and we said it before last week that Dustin the Diamond, he's really heavy with his swings, but when they connect, they're solid, and his accuracy is on point. But here, man, they both came out swinging. I don't know if it was the smartest thing to do, but you're going to yell at me because that's exactly what Dustin wanted to do. He wanted an opponent like Michael Johnson to go in there and bang with him. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the way he is. He's a very aggressive fighter, and I'm sure he appreciates that in other fighters as well. And the trash talk beforehand, beforehand it was Poirier. He was the guy that was initiating the trash talk. Remember, he stuck his finger right in Johnson's face.
Yeah, at the weigh-ins.
He like put his finger right up to his face.
Yeah. Yep.
So then afterwards, Johnson knocks him out and got over him and started yelling at him.
So the question here is, Ted, what he did after that, he said F you to him, was that right of him to do? Because he's saying that you can't blame him for it with all the trash talk that Dustin was throwing there.
I mean...
did his adrenaline get the best of him? Because that's what I think.
I'm sure it did. You know what I mean? Yeah, you just knock somebody out. Your adrenaline's sky high. Stuff happens.
Especially if it's somebody who's been belittling you. Trying to tell everybody that you're not as good as them. You know what I mean? So in that split second, and especially it was a solid KO, man. Like that was a highlight knockout for his reel. So very impressive fight. Then he comes out calling out Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor. He wants to make that kind of money.
Well, I don't think that Nate Diaz is going to want to have anything to do with him because, number one, Nate already has a win over the guy. So how would that benefit Nate to fight this guy again, to fight Johnson again? Doesn't do anything for Nate. He runs the risk of losing. Yep. You know what I mean? It's like you already got a win over the dude. You're done with him, right?
Yeah.
And didn't Nate say he's not going to fight again until he fights Conor again?
Yeah, that's apparently the word on that, and we're going to get into that and much more.
He could be waiting a while, Yeah.
I mean, he's putting a lot of fighters' careers on hold right now because everyone wants a piece of that pie. And of course, we're going to get into it later. There's a lot of controversy going on right now, and there's some big news announced tonight. I don't know if you caught it, Ted, but I got it written down right here. Some breaking news from UFC tonight. We're going to get into that in a couple of minutes.
Tell me. You're killing me here.
Well, I'm sure a lot of the chat room knows, but 5 of the fights have been announced.
I don't know.
5 of the fights have been announced for UFC 205. The word in on Conor McGregor versus Eddie Alvarez has come in. That fight is not going to happen at UFC 205, Ted. Actually, Eddie Alvarez is going to be taking on Khabib Nurmagomedov sometime later. Conor McGregor apparently has a leg injury, and he will not be able to be at UFC 205. And this morning he was tweeting, beg me for it, because of course, last night a tweet that blew up Twitter was Eddie Alvarez pretty much hinting that they had the fight, and then this morning, a complete different story.
Right. No. Okay. So if that was the announcement, yeah, I was up on that. I did a video about that Dana White said, somebody said confirm or deny Khabib versus Eddie Alvarez, and no, confirm or deny McGregor versus Alvarez, and Dana White said no, it's going to be Nurmagomedov. Yeah. So,
and Nurmagomedov said something really funny too. He was like, he was saying something about the Philadelphia Eagles. He was like, get a piece of the real eagle or something like that. I think you're the one that told me that, actually, Ted.
Yeah. Because he's the eagle. He's Khabib, the eagle, Nurmagomedov. But anyway, yeah, we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves. But yeah, Brunson versus Hall. Let's talk about that one, man.
Okay, let's jump right into it. My first you want to go first, Ed? Go.
You go, man. You go.
My first impression, guys, I just want to say I am so sorry at first because in one of the earlier predictions that I had for this fight, of course, my heart was going with Uriah Hall to win this. And then me and Ted kind of talked about it last weekend, and it kind of got my head out of the fog saying, Uriah Hall, hasn't been pulling the trigger lately. He's been really trigger shy, and there was a lot of pressure on him after that season Ultimate Fighter. So inconsistent. He'll win 2, he'll lose 3. And I talked about it on the Pure Evil MMA podcast that dropped Tuesday night on Apple iTunes. Plug. And
hey, man, why not?
And it's just I don't know, man. It's crazy. So at first I thought Uriah Hall was going to win it. So then I went back on my words. I was like, you know what? The power and speed of Brunson might overwhelm Uriah Hall, and we don't know what Uriah is going to show up. So what happened was exactly that. Brunson goes in there, gets another first-round knockout over Uriah Hall. Crazy, man.
Right. Yeah, it was a left hook. So Hall goes down, right? And actually
a lot of controversy here too.
Right. He hits the cage on the way down, and he's kind of on his side, but he has his hands like this. So you can make the argument he was intelligently defending himself. And if you watch Brunson, I watched this a couple times. Brunson, I think, fired off 3 shots, and all of them missed. It was.
I think it was 5, Ted. 5 shots.
Okay. All right. I mean, I saw 3, but whatever. So one goes over the head, one goes under the head and hits the mat. The other one, I think, goes over the head again. I mean, he missed everything. Whether it's 3 or 5, it doesn't matter. He missed them all. And Herb Dean just goes like this. It's gonna be like a verb. It's gonna be hope you don't get deaned, because Herb Dean calls the fight off too quick. I mean, what was he watching there? He's sitting there. He's standing there. He's got the best seat in the house. He's watching all these shots going bing, 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 miss, 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 miss. Oh, the fight's over. And Hall had the best look. Hall's like, what? Why? What do you mean? Put me in, coach. Put me in.
And my take from it, Ted, was that initial shot that dropped him though was enough to alarm Herb Dean to get in there.
Oh yeah, definitely enough to get right in there and look and see what happens next. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No. And if any of those 5 shots, thank God none of those shots landed, because if they did, we could have seen a lot of damage to Uriah Hall there in that moment. So Herb Dean probably didn't notice from the initial fall of Uriah Hall. Did it look like he was protecting himself too? Because I couldn't tell.
I thought he kind of had his hands up a bit.
That's what I thought at first too. But
Sammy is saying that Dean didn't call Weidman Rockhold too quick. He let him get smashed, and that is true.
That's so true.
I think. Okay, so with Herb Dean, it's just coming back to me. Here's the deal with Herb Dean.
It's all coming back.
It's all. Here's the deal with Herb Dean. He gets a lot of crap if he stops a fight too soon. The next major fight he has, he lets it go too long, and then he takes crap for that. The next fight after that one, he cuts it too soon. And so it just, perpetuates itself. It's a vicious circle. So look for the next major fight that Herb Dean officiates. He is going to let it go too long. Now it's like that.
Well, my argument here is that when you got over 1 million people, 500,000 people, whatever the numbers are watching you, people like to pick apart every little thing that they can because it sparks engagement in the sport, I guess. We see it in football. But, there was a lot of controversy here tonight, Ted, a lot more than normal. Earlier in the night, a lot of people getting tapped out, and the refs didn't even really know that they were out. The fighters literally had to say, dude, he's out. He's out. And then
we've seen that before, yep.
And we even saw, I think it was one of the later fights, somebody giving the Barberina thumbs up at some point in the fight to let us know that he was all right. I forgot what it was. But also shout out to Skelly for getting the 17-second submission record in featherweight history.
Oh, Chad Skelly, right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that was a great win. Great submission there. Absolutely. So anyway, we were talking about Conor, and that actually is our second topic
Let's jump right into it.
Tonight. Go right to that. So Conor McGregor wanting somebody to beg him. I don't know who, but I did a video about that there was people were saying that Eddie Alvarez. Well, all right, let's back up. Eddie Alvarez tweets to Conor and says, "Hey man, let's do this. I'm ready. I'm gonna destroy you or whatever." In so many words, okay. And then Habib jumps in and says, "Oh, what about this guy right here? I'm the guy that should be fighting you." And then so apparently there's some behind the scenes stuff going on. And then when Dana White said that it was going to be Habib and not Conor, and then I heard that that somebody was asking for too much money. I said, I see what's going on here. Dana White was trying to use Habib as like a bargaining chip. He was trying to play mind games with Conor to make Conor think that they were considering Habib for that, put Habib in there.
That's good
like,
thinking.
Hey, don't screw with us because we can do this. We're playing the chess here, and you're just one of the pawns. That's what I was thinking. But now you've got this new information that's saying that it's a done deal. Then, huh?
Well, that's what it's looking like. They announced it tonight on UFC Tonight with Cara Bryan, Kenny Florian making his appearance back on the show, Tyron Woodley. I said Tyrone for so long. Well, I called him Tyrone for so long, and a lot of people pointed out, like, no, man, you know what I mean?
No, as in he's running away. Tyrone.
That's what a lot of people are saying.
He likes to run from opponents.
So, what are the people in the chat room saying about this fight, Ted?
Well, let's take a look here. They're not talking about it. I mean, they're talking about a bunch of things here. Ann's mentioning Chael Sonnen. We're going to get into that. Minion is online.
What's going on, Minion? And
here we go.
Brooklyn.
What's that?
No, I'm saying hi to everybody. Brooklyn, Ann, Salem, Jody.
Anyway, is Conor's foot or leg even healed up enough to fight by 205?
Well, that's what they were announcing tonight. This is what they announced tonight, Ted. And it literally just happened moments ago. The show started at 9 p.m. Eastern time. What I heard and what I understood was they announced 5 cards for UFC 205. 5 official fights.
5 fights.
Yep. So one thing I did notice, and Damon Martin actually pointed it out, that one of the fights that wasn't announced was Chris Weidman versus Yoel Romero was not officially announced, so that wasn't put through yet.
Oh, that's not an official fight?
Not yet.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't announced tonight, yeah. They did announce a few fights, though. They announced Frankie Edgar against... Oh, man, I'm drawing a huge blank right now. Whoa. They announced Cowboy fight. Here, it will come to me. Yeah, Cowboy Frankie Edgar.
Oh, and Al Iaquinta is out.
Big news about that, yeah. So he went on the MMA Hour, and he went to go on to explain that he's doing realty now. Is that what you're talking about? That he doesn't think that he's getting paid enough money.
Right. He had a long layoff because of an injury, and then the UFC wanted him to go out to Vegas to go to that fighter summit. He said, I can't do it right now. But then he tweeted out or put out an Instagram photo of himself on a beach, and they said, "What are you doing on the beach?" So it's kind of like Big Brother. Big Brother's watching over you. What are you doing on that beach? And then he had words with one of them, and so then they said to him, you know what? For your next 3 fights, you will not be. Even if you win those fights, even if you think and everybody else thinks it's fight of the night or performance of the night or whatever they call it now, you're not eligible for the bonuses, for the $50,000 or whatever their bonuses. So they whacked him with that, and that was really a blow to Al Iaquinta. And so he's like, basically, if he doesn't have if he's not eligible for that, and he fights at 205 at UFC 205, it's like he's going to be fighting for free once he pays his trainers and his manager and da, 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 da.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have any money. Comes out of it, and he's got no money. So that's unfortunate, and that's why he's pushing for a union. He's yet another fighter pushing for the union, and I really want to see that union happen. I really think it needs to happen.
I mean, it's been a big year for them, and that movement is certainly coming. A lot of fighters are speaking up now, and I think that's huge that he did that this week on the MMA Hour. But, Ted, here are the fights that I wanted to announce. Donald Cerrone versus Kelvin Gastelum officially announced as a welterweight bout. Frankie Edgar versus Jeremy Stevens. What do you think about that one?
Oh, wow. Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, man. I'm so pumped. Jeremy Stevens just beating Renan Barão in the way that he did. I can't wait for this.
Yeah. Yep. That's a very good fight. I like that fight a lot.
Tim Kennedy versus Rashad Evans.
Yep. Another good one. Another good fight.
Tim Bosch versus Rafael Natal.
Oh, Tim Boach.
Yeah, Tim Boach.
Okay.
And then Caitlin Chukagian versus Liz Carmouche.
Oh, okay.
So those are the 5 official fights that were announced tonight. But yeah, man, Conor McGregor versus Eddie Alvarez was almost about to happen, which brought Conor back to his root of what he originally set out to do here after he beat Jose Aldo, was become a 2-division champion.
Right.
So he got sidetracked off of that, of course, once RDA broke his foot. I'll never forget that day. I remember sitting right here and reading that, and I was just so upset and angry about it. And that got sent completely off course, but it was perfect for Conor McGregor's story, if you ask me.
And I did a video because I looked at this Instagram post that RDA put out where he was in the parking lot by his academy, wherever the heck that is, and he was doing these weird sprints. He had like a really funny stride in his sprints, and I said, "Is that what did it right there? He's not that's not normal the way that he's running. That doesn't look like a normal person runs. He's running in a weird way, and that's probably what broke his foot." Which I don't know. I don't know if I was onto something or if it was total crap. But I was just trying to throw something out there. I don't know. But yeah, you're right. That did kind of send things into a tailspin because Conor was supposed to fight RDA. And so had that happened, he would have never gotten involved with Nate Diaz.
So now it looks like it's official. Khabib Nurmagomedov is finally going to get the title shot that he's been asking for all this time. What do you think about this fight, Ted? Who wins it before we move on to the next topic?
Habib versus Eddie Alvarez.
I love this matchup, man. I love it.
It's very interesting because Alvarez has he used to be a brawler with some wrestling skills, and he would get into these brawls, and then he was like a real life Rocky, where he'd take a punch, right, and he'd get knocked down, and it's almost like he needed that. He needed to take a punch, get knocked down, just so he could get back up and be like, "Oh yeah,
so epic."
Now it's on.
So
it
epic.
It wasn't on before, but now it's on because you knocked me down. You know what I mean?
And we saw that in the RDA fight too. He punched him. He was like, "No, it's going down now."
But he's kind of transformed himself into this kind of this.
He plays it safe.
How do we say it exactly? Almost like a wet blanket. Although he did his last fight, he scored a knockout, right?
Yeah.
Or is it TKO?
Yeah, but he did play it safe. He played it safe for a while in that fight versus Pettis. A lot of people were upset about that. Yeah, man. So you don't know what you're going to expect. Are you going to say that he might go to decision, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, he's going to try to go to decision against Habib. Nurmagomedov is just too tough on the ground. I don't know. I don't see that happening. So what I see is Alvarez switching gears for Nurmagomedov, and he's gonna stand with him. What's that?
No, keep going.
Yeah, Alvarez is going to change his game plan up. He's you've got to adapt to. It depends on who you're fighting, right? So he's not going to try to take this one to the ground. He's going to stand and bang with Nurmagomedov, or he's going to fight him standing up. He hopes to, at least. He could get taken down, but it's so hard to get a decision win over Habib. Habib will more than likely get a decision over Alvarez. That's how I see it. Unanimous decision for the Eagle.
I could totally see that happening. So that leaves us questioning who is going to be Conor McGregor's next opponent, and we're going to talk about that at some other time. So going into round number 2, right? Is this round number 2 or round number 3? Going into round number 3, what do you have, Ted?
3 is Chael Sonnen signing with Bellator.
Some of the biggest news, and I was talking about it on the podcast, Ted, and tell me if I'm wrong, but the past couple of weeks have been pretty quiet weeks in the world of MMA, and this week that we just went through, a lot of exciting news coming out of it, Chael Sonnen being one of them.
Absolutely, man. Definitely. I came totally out of left field. I was like, wait, what? Chael Sonnen signs with Bellator? I never, ever saw this one coming.
It's a UFC lifer, right?
Yeah, and apparently he didn't either. You know, he thought that he was going to, you know, come off of his 2-year suspension and get right back to the UFC. But I mean, I guess he's. I saw a headline. He says he's not really ready yet to tell the full story of what happened, but he said something about when he saw Rory McDonald had gone over. I guess maybe that kind of planted the seed in his head. And you can imagine, you know, he gets up to the negotiating table with the UFC, and I guess they thought that he thought he was worth more than they thought he was, or you know, I always say you got to know your worth. You got to know what you're worth.
Yeah.
And I guess he asked for too much. I don't know. Maybe it's this new management. I mean, they've always been tough negotiators, the UFC, right? They've always been tough.
And he was kind of hinting towards this for a while, and what a huge year for Bellator has been, signing Benson Henderson, signing Matt Mitrione. My question to you, Ted, is what is Bellator's biggest sign? Was it UFC? Was it Kimbo Slice? Was it Phil Brooks? I mean, not Phil Brooks. Mr. Wonderful? Was it Benson Henderson? Who was it?
Oh, it's Chael Sonnen.
Not Rampage?
Nope. No. It's Chael Sonnen.
It's sure. Chael Sonnen.
Oh yeah, I mean, just his popularity, because he's got a podcast that's fairly popular. He's also a color commentator for World Series of Fighting. He's written books. He's just, he's the guy's everywhere, for one thing, and he's outspoken. He knows how to hype a fight. He's making the rounds. I think wasn't he on Helwani's show, and so the guy knows how to promote pretty much better than just about anybody. Let's say, except for Conor McGregor. Guy knows how, and he was around before Conor. You know.
Yeah, he wrote the blueprint to it.
Yeah, Conor probably picked a few things up from Chael Sonnen.
And Brendan Schaub was even saying it this week, like when he was watching the whole Bellator thing, that it just seemed so old school. But in my opinion, Ted, it's such a perfect sign for Bellator because they almost like that. You know what I mean? They almost like that kind of WWE entertainment aspect to it. And now he's calling out Tito Ortiz. What is the best fight that they can make with Chael Sonnen now on the roster?
Well, okay, so he's he's in his late 30s, right?
Yeah.
He said he called this his return to Bellator, or his return to MMA and his entry into Bellator. He called it like what is his Legends ass kicking tour.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly what he called it.
Okay. So to me that reminds me of Pat Miletich talking about, I think Pat said something about he wanted to fight Hoist Gracie or he wanted to fight Ken Shamrock or whatever. He called it the Geritol Posse. In other words, all the old guys. So what Chael said reminds me of that. Like, in other words, if he's going on a Legends tour, he's only going to fight old dudes like Tito Ortiz. So who's he going to call out next? Hoist Gracie or Ken Shamrock?
In my opinion, Ted, he needs to be careful of those kind of fights. In my opinion, he needs to be really careful with who's going to be fighting here.
Yeah, careful in what way?
Well, to not make it seem like a carnival act again. You know what I mean? Bellator can't afford that right now. I really don't think. I mean, I hope they don't thrive off of it because it seems like they make crazy matchups a lot.
Yeah, they make those freak fights, those freak matchups, And then they have other guys. They have kind of their homegrown guys, like Liam McGeary and
MVP.
What's that?
MVP. Michael
MVP.
Venom Page.
Michael Chandler. Guys that have come up in the organization that really were not known at all before they got to Bellator. So I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to have a good mix of the two. The freak fights or the big name fights, like when Tito Ortiz fought Stephan Bonner, when Kimbo fought, those types of fights get a lot of eyes on the product, right?
Yeah.
And then while you got those eyes on the product, you put in your homegrown talent, and hopefully you get more fans for those people. I guess is the idea, right? I think so. But I don't see Chael Sonnen fighting anybody that's not like a big name, like Tito Ortiz or even Rory McDonald, unless he's going to challenge for the title.
Yeah, man. I mean, Chael Sonnen versus Congo was kind of being tossed around this week.
Check Congo?
Yeah, that was being tossed around this week. Of course, he called out Tito Ortiz. Yeah, there's a lot of matchups to make there. I'm just excited for whoever MVP is going to be fighting next. He's just been on an absolute tear. I actually got to see him fight live, man, against I forgot who it was against actually. But dude, what a crazy night. One of the best fighters to go see live, I'm telling you right now. And a lot of people say that
he's crushing cans though. That's the thing.
That's what I was about to say. A lot of people say that, he's too comfortable there at Bellator.
They're afraid. They don't want him to take a loss, because I think Bellator's afraid even if he gets only one loss, it's really gonna decrease his value. So they're trying to pad his record. But until when? I mean, eventually the guy's gonna have to fight somebody, that's gonna give him trouble. Somebody who's gonna give him a challenge, whether it be Ben Henderson or whether it's Andrei Koreshkov or Douglas Lima. Somebody, Rory McDonald. I would love to see that, as a matter of fact. But, eventually the guy's going to have to fight somebody that's going to give him a challenge. He can't just do that forever. He can't just... I mean, I guess he could, but then he'll never get the title. Yeah,
man. Congratulations to Scott Coker and everyone over at Bellator. Been a great year for them, signing over some really big names.
Yep.
So that actually gets us into the perfect segue into the next topic, Ted. I've written down BJ Penn. And is this a real thing that he can actually accomplish, becoming a champion in 3 divisions now, especially in the division he's aiming for?
Right, because now he's in featherweight.
Yes.
We saw his last fight 2 years ago. He was a featherweight, and he looked really...
He got crushed.
Terrible. He looked terrible. Well, I mean, that stand-up style.
Yeah, man. It looked like he was on his straight tippy toes. Just like...
But I mean, yeah, the old school boxing style, Queensberry rules, right?
Yep, yeah.
So he's going to make 145 his home. That to me seems kind of strange because I think he had his best fights at 155, and Lamas is a killer. So this is going to be a tough return for BJ Penn. No tune-up fight for him, I guess.
No. Not at all. If you did accept that he was coming back to the UFC, what would be your perfect warm-up match for BJ Penn?
Well, I thought Nick Lentz was going to be a good one.
Me too, bro. Same here. I thought they were going to do that.
Yep, they had the war of words going on. You know what I mean? They had the trash talk going on, and so I just don't get why it seems to me to be the no-brainer. Sign the fight. It's easy. Sign it.
I don't know if you've been watching interviews. Have you been watching interviews of him lately, like within the past couple of weeks?
No, I missed those.
Well, what's the last interview you saw of him talking about him making his return?
I think I saw some Instagram stuff where he was at Greg Jackson's place.
Okay. Well, yeah, if there's any place for him to make a return, that's the safest place and the best place for him. But in my opinion here...
That's where he's training.
Yeah. In my opinion here, he got injured, and that kind of set him off. He had to leave the gym, go all the way back home, and then come all the way back to train again. And he just seems on edge lately. Like, this is really bothering him. He's just being I don't know what's going on with BJ Penn. He just doesn't seem himself.
What's bothering him? That what did you take away from the fight itself?
He just seems real irritable, and just like he knows that there's a lot of people out there that are judging him right now, and I think it's really getting to him. That's just how I see it right now. And I hope not, man, because it would be awesome if he did make a return and won a couple of fights. I wouldn't be mad. But a lot of people are giving him a lot of shit about it because they're saying, what do you have left to fight for? You've already accomplished so much. But he is set on becoming a champion once again. Is this realistic?
I don't know. It's really, really tough. I mean, and like I said, Lamas is not the guy you want to make your return against. We saw his fight with Max Holloway, where the last 20 seconds they were just banging it out. And Lamas is I was just watching some tape on the guy. I mean, the guy's got everything. He's got takedowns. He's got submissions. He's got some killer kicks. Whether it's low kicks, high kicks. So he's a real complete fighter. And we know BJ Penn had trouble with takedowns we watched those two fights with Frankie Edgar, and Frankie was kind of seamlessly mixing in the punches with the takedowns.
Yeah.
And Penn had problems with that. So I kind of see the same thing here, and I just I don't want to see the guy discouraged. I don't want to I don't want to stomp on his dream, right? But he has more fights left in him. I just don't know if that's in the form of chasing for the title.
So I want to know what the chat room has to say about this. Do they think that BJ Penn is going to win in this fight against Ricardo Lamas? Is that the main event, Ted, for that fight?
Yeah, I believe it is. It's in the Philippines.
It's in the Philippines?
Yeah.
When is that fight?
It's a fight night fight, I think. It's not a numbered. It's not a pay-per-view.
And make no mistake about it, guys. Even though me and Ted are saying this, there's a killer inside of BJ Penn. So make no mistake.
Oh yeah, I mean the guy has cemented his legacy. There's nothing that can take that away at this point. He could lose the next 2-3 fights in the UFC. Doesn't matter. The guy is forever in the history books as one of the best.
What we're saying.
Oh hey, I just want to break in for a second. Jody is saying Brunson gets a quick turnaround, faces Whitaker at UFC Fight Night 101.
Was that just announced just now, Jody? I love Jody. She's always on top of all of the stuff for Pure Evil MMA. Shout out to what's she saying, Ted?
Well, I thought it was Whitaker versus Anderson Silva. I thought that was what was going to happen. Was Whitaker? Oh, and Jody's saying it was just posted on MMA Fighting, so it looks like that's a go then.
Wow.
And I was thinking of that because.
Thank you, Jody. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Jody. Check this out. Okay, so if you don't mind, let's go back to Brunson versus Hall just for a second.
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you remember? Okay, so he beats Hall. Okay, that's fine, and it was spectacular. Wasn't he doing this with the belt? Like I want my title shot. Not so fast. Not so fast.
Wait, do that one more time for everybody because I changed it. Wait, down to it.
Not so fast, Mr. Brunson. He is number 8. He moved up 2 spots. He moved up 2 spots with that win. Spectacular win over Hall, goes from 10 to 8. He's got a murderer's row ahead of him. Number 7 is Whitaker. 6, Anderson Silva. 5, Belfort. 4, Yoel Romero. 3, Jacare. 2, Weidman. Number 1, Rockhold. And, of course, the champion, Michael Bisping.
Dude, that's a list of killers right there. That's hell. That's hell's row.
Ain't no way he's leapfrogging over those guys. It makes perfect sense. I'm very happy. I criticize the UFC when I think they deserve it, but also give praise when it's deserved. And number 8 Brunson versus number 7 Whitaker makes perfect sense.
Well, I'm pretty positive that coming into this fight, Uriah Hall was ranked 8th and Brunson was ranked 9th. So that makes perfect sense. Finally, it looks like they're paying a little more attention, at least with that fight there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what happened with Anderson Silva. I was excited for that fight. I like Whitaker a lot. I think he's one to watch in this division. I mean, you look at some of the other guys like Belfort, Romero, Souza. They've been around for a while, but he's a young gun, and he's in the top 10, and I mean he's a killer. So I really like that guy, and we could be looking at, but I was going to say we could be looking at a future champ. I don't want to get ahead of myself because now he's got a very, very tough challenge in Derek Brunson. And so thanks again to Jody for telling us. I love it when news breaks in when we're doing a show. Isn't that awesome?
I know.
Remember when that happened before with, who was it? When John Jones...
Minion broke the news for us, right?
Yeah. It was
that was crazy, dude. We went silent. We were like, there's no... Dude, because we were so pumped up for UFC 200, and it was all set. We watched it all go down. It was 48 hours away from actually being real. And we were joking about it the day before, and we got so mad because this kid Aziz on Twitter made this post pretending that he was Ariel Helwani, remember? And he said that John Bones was pulled, and everyone went nuts on Twitter. And then the following day, it actually happened, and we were just like, no, that's fake. There's no way. And then, wow, what a turning point!
Yeah. It was insane. I'm so glad that we were on air when that happened, and we were able to capture that. Our just absolute shock. And you broke it out. You made it its own video. That was great.
Yeah, any of our new viewers out there, in case you're tuning in late, because I know this is a live stream, you're listening to Evil Intoxicated episode 14. What me and Ted are talking about is actually down below. So if you subscribe down below, you can find the section labeled reactions. And me and Ted actually call our reaction during the show, and that's down below for you. It's actually really funny. So I'm actually interested to see how many views it might have right now. Shout out to last week, we got over 2,000 views.
Well, it's close to 3, right?
Yeah, close to 3,000 views.
Nice. Yeah, so that's great news as far as Brunson versus Whitaker. That's November 27th in Australia.
And one last thing, Ted, I'm sorry, before we move on to the next subject, just a shout out, thank you so much, Jody, for that. Shout out to the Pure Evil Army, shout out to Minion and Yusuf, General Said, Kara, everyone over there. You guys are awesome. Rizzer, always keeping us up to date with everything going on. One of the best families. We don't judge on your opinions. We're just here to enjoy MMA and have fun. Shout out to your boy Sammy Eid, Ted. He won 2 weeks in a row now for the UFC Pick'em for my competition on the podcast.
Wow, man.
Sammy Eid.
That's awesome.
Your boy Sammy, Salem. Yep. So congratulations to Sammy for being our winner of the week for the Pure Evil MMA podcast. You guys can check that out on Apple iTunes to search Pure Evil MMA. It's also on podbean.com. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, me and Ted's show right here, Evil Intoxicated, will now be on audio, and we're going to be trying to get Ted a new microphone.
I think I'm putting it on my Christmas list.
Well, you know what?
But my Christmas is so far away. I got to do something. You know what I mean?
Christmas is coming, man. It's coming fast. It always happens so quick. My favorite holiday, though, is by far October, Halloween, without a doubt.
Halloween. But here's the deal, Eddie. Like I said before we got on air, I listened to that first one that you posted on SoundCloud, and you sound crystal clear, and I sound like crap. It's like I don't want to wait another few months to get a microphone. So I'm gonna have to upgrade real soon because I care about the show and I want it to be at least semi-professional. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to be all the way professional, but at least a little bit.
Well, you know what? There's a way we can do this, guys. I have a GoFundMe account up. It is on my Twitter. It's on my Facebook. Shout out to Jody for making the first donation of $25. We're going to be putting that money towards getting Ted a new microphone. So
stop it.
Dude, we have to. That's what that account's for. I can't ask listeners for money unless it's for something for them. So that's the next thing that we need. So we got $25 for it. If you guys want to donate even $1, $2 to the account, it's going to be posted on my Facebook. Ted doesn't seem too happy about it, but it's got to get done. Let's see if we can make that goal happen, guys.
I can whatever. All right, let's move on. You're embarrassing me.
All right, moving on to topic number 3. The GoFundMe account will be
Nobody's
posted
ever
on
done
my
anything
Facebook.
for me in my life.
So getting into to end this topic out really quick, Ted, about BJ Penn. What's the latest age you'd recommend somebody to be fighting in the UFC?
Well, yeah, that's right. Because we want to talk about older fighters, and yeah, so we looked at you and I when we were kind of doing our show prep. Randy Couture, I believe, I think I calculated, was 43 when he challenged Tim Sylvia for the title. He didn't retire until I think he was 47. Good old Captain America. And but Dan Henderson, I believe, just turned 46. I think his birthday is in August, or was in August. So we're past that. So I believe he is 46.
I think you're right, because I feel like I announced that when it was his birthday.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
Which is absolutely, it's amazing. It's amazing. The guy has found the fountain of youth, and he is not sharing it with anybody.
Well, you know what, Ted?
He's hoarding it.
A lot of people were saying before his fight with what was it, Hector Lombard, or Edson Barboza was his last fight, right?
No, Lombard.
Yeah, it was Hector Lombard. A lot of people were saying before that fight that it was all over for Dan Henderson, that he wasn't even a favorite to win that fight, really. He luckily came back. I mean, survived that first round brutal beating, and in that second round came back, landed a beautiful elbow, and then just threw the bomb down on him.
I didn't think Hendo was going to win. I'll be honest with you.
And right there, Ted, he actually kind of announced that night that he would be retiring, like that was his last fight. And then all of a sudden, this comes out of the blue. So what a better way to do this, to close it out for his career. But he's definitely well aware of his age, and knowing that his time is really close.
Right, and what I've always said is that, as just a talking head, it's not up to me to tell, because sometimes you hear people, fans or critics, say, you know what, it's really time for so-and-so to retire. It's really time for this person to retire. It's really time for that person to retire. I don't think it's up to me. That's a personal decision that the fighter needs to make with their family and their coaches and, doctors, stuff like that. That's up to them to make that decision.
Dude, I'm so happy you just said that, because I gotta agree. I hate when I see people telling others that they should be retiring. Like, you that's a very serious thing to be throwing out there. Me as a professional in this field of MMA, you got to be careful with what you say, and that you shouldn't be going that far. So I'm really happy that you did just say that, Ted, because that's huge, man. Not to say he should retire. I hate when I hear that.
Right. I mean, the famous example that I can think of is Dana White. Now this is kind of different. I mean, this is the owner of, the president of the UFC, telling Chuck Liddell, Chuck, I'm not giving you another fight, because Liddell had suffered something like four KOs in a row. And Dana White, is close with Chuck Liddell, and said, you know what, he knew that Chuck Liddell would only fight for him. It's not like Liddell was going to go and fight for Bellator or go fight in Japan. So so Dana White said, you know what, I'm not giving you another fight. That's it. You're done. I'll give you a nice cushy job in the front office, and that's where you can take that job, but you're not getting in this octagon anymore. But that's a far. But Dana White knew what he was doing in that sense, But it's a very personal decision, and I mean, we've seen fighters, and we've got fighters in their 40s, We've seen fighters have like a resurgence in their career, like they're going great. They might dip down for a while and then come back up in their later years,
We see that happen all the time.
Yeah. So you can't really count somebody out. So there you go. I mean, how old is BJ Penn? He's in his late 30s, I think.
Yeah, he's in his late 30s right now. I mean,
so he's not quite 40 yet.
No, I don't think he's 40 yet. No. But yeah, I just wanted to know, what is going to happen for BJ, and the reason why we say that this could be a tough fight for him here is because we really don't know what to expect. It's been a while. I think it's been 6 years since he won his last fight.
Wow.
or 5 years, something like that.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to think of he lost to Frankie Edgar twice. He lost to Rory McDonald.
Yeah.
He lost to Nick Diaz, right?
Yep.
So it's been a while. But like we were saying, like you said, I think he's with a great camp in Jackson Winklejohn. If any camp can get him ready, it's them. And he's got a different nutritionist because he was, he was at odds with his previous nutritionist. So he's with a different person now. So hopefully he makes a good showing. I just don't see him winning against Lamas.
We're gonna have to wait and see what happens. Moving on, before we even move on to topic, the final topic here, which is the upcoming fights this weekend. And we actually have a really fun segment planned. I know there's a lot of people looking forward to the segment we're closing out with, Ted, which is the question of if it was the apocalypse, and you could pick 5 active UFC fighters to be on your side, to be on your street team. Who would it be? You can pick any 5 active UFC fighters right now. If there's anyone who wasn't aware of this little questionnaire that we're having at the end of the show, now's your time to think about that question. If you could pick any 5 fighters in the UFC, who would it be? So we're going to get into that in a second. But Ted, man, I just want to say I'm going to be lonely here tonight. Angie is out at her friend Hannah's house, the friend with the dreadlocks.
The friend with the dreadlocks.
And all the rats, the one with all the rats.
And the rats live in the dreadlocks, right?
No.
They climb in it and they make nests in it.
If I had dreadlocks, you'd guarantee you see me rocking a couple mice in my hair, at least a couple.
Hey, I got to say this. Brooklyn Elite, who is one of our new listeners, very active though. I think it's a he, Brooklyn Elite. He's saying that Dan Henderson actually has to fight, which is sad. He said he needs the money. He said he couldn't retire if he wanted. That really is sad if that's true. I thought Dan Henderson, I don't know. I don't know his financial situation, but I know he at one point he had an academy. He had a Team Quest academy. He had Clinch Gear, the T-shirt or the clothing line. And so I don't know. That is heartbreaking to hear if that in fact is the case. Although he did say he was going to retire after he fights Bisping, and then there was something that I read where he was saying, you know what, I might do one more, which I thought I kind of predicted that because you got to defend the title. If he wins, the fighter in him is going to say, you know what, we got one more in us. We got one more.
It's one hell of an inspirational story, especially if he wins against Bisping. But like I said last week, guys, if Michael Bisping wins here, I'm giving him 2016's UFC Fighter of the Year, without a doubt.
Yeah. I might have
Silva, beating Luke Rockhold, beating Silva on his birthday of all days, too.
Yeah, that's a heck of a feat right there to beat 3 of the top guys in the division in 1 year for Bisping. With a bum eye, with a messed up eye, with a permanently messed up eye. Jeez.
But yeah, Ted, before we get into the next topic, Angie went over to her friend's house to make tacos tonight, so I'm here all alone. She actually took 2 of the rats with her, but like I said, we got that little feeder rat that she saved. She saved its life. Remember, I told the last pet rat that she brought home. And
the snake was gonna eat it.
Yeah, it's a white rat and it has red eyes, and you'll see a lot of feeder rats have red eyes because the excuse is people don't buy rats with red eyes, so they usually tend to feed them to the snakes, apparently.
It's an albino.
Yeah, it's an albino, has red eyes, but she's so cute, man, and it actually is so smart, too. It literally lays with me every night at the same time. It's potty trained. It lives in the corner of the couch. It's just so cool. She doesn't have a cage or anything. She has a litter box on the couch, and she was only like $5. So,
wow.
So, yeah, it's me and her tonight, man. And, of course, that season of Ultimate Fighter is going down. I wanted to ask you at the beginning of the show, have you had a chance to watch last week's episode?
Oh man! Oh Eddie, you ask me that every week. No,
Well,
I still haven't seen it. I still have not seen the show.
there's been a big stir because it's all the champions that they actually leak the real winner.
Ooh. Oh
So
yeah.
I wanted to ask you, didn't that happen before in the past when they had the season Ultimate Fighter? The winner was announced. I'm pretty sure it was the season with Matt Serra, but I wasn't sure. I was trying to figure it out on the podcast. Do you remember what that was?
I don't remember exactly, but didn't Ariel Helwani have something to do with that?
I don't know.
Or well, no, it wasn't him. It was Josh Gross from. At the time, he was working for SureDog. He writes for. I think he writes for ESPN or Sports Illustrated now. Sports Illustrated.
And was it
He's,
The Matt Serra one?
I can't remember.
The comeback
But
season?
he did tweet something out, or he somehow released something, and then he was blacklisted by the UFC for that. Yeah, but I mean, my thing is, there's a guy I know from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, who should have been on that season. His name is Matt Lozano, and he's a flyweight, and he's awesome. I call him like a little Diaz because he's kind of cut from the same cloth as the Diaz brothers. He's a lanky kid. He's like 5'8", 5'9",
Scrapper.
125 pounds, and is great on the ground and standing too. I don't know what happened. I think he went out there. He flew out there, but I don't know what happened. But he didn't make it on the show.
He's a champion?
Well, see, that might have been it. At the time, he didn't have a belt. He just did win a belt, a regional belt. But at the time, he was not a champion, so maybe that's what did it. We'll go with that.
What's a regional belt? Can you tell? Like, was that just a smaller organization, pretty much?
Yeah, it's not smaller. Yeah. What's it called? It's like World Cage Fighting Championship. I can't remember the name of the organization. But yeah, it's an East Coast operation. Yep.
Yeah, man. So getting back into it before we get into the next topic. Yeah, man. So it's going to be a crazy long night for me without Angie here. That's all I'm thinking about right now.
Oh man.
No, it's all right. I got the Pure Evil Army, and that's what I wanted to say. Just thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight, and make sure to share this episode with everybody who didn't get a chance to watch it, because I know the season Ultimate Fighter is going on right now. So getting into it, Ted, we got fights coming up this weekend. They're going to be live and free on FS1. Chris Cyborg is taking on the UFC debut Landsberg, the Elbow Princess. Have you done any research on Landsberg?
You know, I did. I haven't actually seen any tape on her, but she did say that she would have taken the fight at 145. So either she's fearless, or she's not that smart. And I don't mean that I mean, she probably is smart, but you know what I'm saying? Like, she's fearless. Then let's go with that. Yeah. Cyborg, I mean, is a terror, is an absolute terror, and Landsberg is coming in at, what's she, 6 wins, 1 loss. At least you look at this on paper, and you're like, whoa, this is a bit of a mismatch. You know, so it makes you wonder. You know, I mean, obviously it's in Brazil. It's another card that Cyborg can headline. She already did one, right?
Yep.
She already main evented one. So here's another one. I don't know. I don't know much about Landsberg other than, you know, she's known as the Elbow Princess, but she's got to be able to get in certain positions in order to use those elbows. Yeah, and I'm sure that's not the only weapon in her arsenal, right?
Oh, definitely not. And we usually see Cyborg push forward immediately, but in her debut fight at UFC 198 down in Brazil, we saw a more patient Chris Cyborg. And all the talk, though, Ted, this week, and it wasn't about Ronda Rousey this week when you talked about Chris Cyborg, it was about her weight cutting right now. She was 165 Saturday night, Sunday morning, I think, and that's 25 pounds that she's going to have to lose to make 140 pounds. She was just on UFC Tonight at 9 o'clock. I listened for everybody in case any of you guys missed it, whether at work or wherever you were. And she's saying that no one should be worrying about it, that she's got it. Everything's going to be fine. She has some of the best people behind her, and it has to do most likely with the birth control that she's on. I'm pretty sure I got that straight. Have you heard anything on this though, Ted? And do you think this is a huge factor considering her last fight? She had that video of her crying when she was doing the weight cut.
Yeah. I mean, I thought I was under the impression that George Lockhart, who is her nutritionist, I thought he was the one that told her she needed to get on the birth control because that was going to help her lose the weight.
Oh, is that what it was said? I thought it was.
That was my understanding.
You might be right. I might have mixed it up because I thought it was saying that the birth control is what's holding the water in. She's on birth control, and that's why it's harder for her to lose the weight because it's absorbed all the water. But I might be completely wrong. I think you're right with that.
That was my understanding, that he was telling her she needed to do this. So I don't think her. I mean, I don't think her boyfriend's gonna have a problem with that. I think she's still with Ray Elby.
Oh yeah.
I think so. Yeah, Magical Ray Elby. He's the guy. You might remember this one. He's the guy a few years ago. He's a former fighter. I don't think he fights anymore, but I believe he was in Thailand, and was in the middle of things, and his member was injured. You don't remember this story?
No, I don't.
I don't know how to say this. You got a broken penis, and seriously, and then he started going into shock. I think he said he started bleeding. He started going to the he was heading to the bathroom, and I guess he tripped. He nailed his chin. He cut himself on the chin, and it was like this big. You got to hear the guy explain it because I'm not doing it justice. But
dude, you don't even just the whole point and moral of that story was gut
just an absolutely horrific thing that happened to him. But the silver lining is his equipment is all good.
So if she does take the birth control, your point is that he's gonna have a fun night after she brings home that W, hopefully. But my thing here is Ted. I didn't really know much about Landsberg, but I do know one thing. I have a huge crush on her right now. She's definitely a really pretty girl, and I was watching some clips of her. Man, she's a dangerous woman. So I'm interested to see how she's going to handle the pressure of her UFC debut as a main event in Brazil against Chris Cyborg.
Right, that's a lot to take on.
That's a crazy welcoming party to join the UFC.
Jody's laughing at you. She's like, Eddie thinks she's hot. LOL.
She is. She's pretty.
Yeah, but but what about that Russian girl? I thought you were really digging that Russian girl, the kickboxer.
Who? Valentina Shevchenko?
Yeah. I thought she was your girl.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I got a new crush here tonight. But yeah, also on the card, Ted, Paul Felder going up against Trinaldo, and of course all the listeners know. And if there's any new listeners, definitely check out the interview below. I got to speak with Paul Felder about his upcoming fight for UFC Brasilia, Brazil, Fight Night 95. And he told me that he can promise us one thing, Ted, that he promises that he's going to go in there and he's going to throw down with that son of a bee. And that all the pressure isn't on Paul, that all the pressure is going to be on Trinaldo because it's him fighting in his hometown. He's there to put on a show.
Well, that's awesome to hear, and I've interviewed Paul. You've interviewed Paul. Great guy. He's from Philadelphia originally. Trains with Cowboy Cerrone, and that's an interesting take on that. That all the pressure is on the hometown favorite. But that it tells me that he's not feeling any pressure, and that's a good way to walk into the cage.
Well, tonight Tyrone Woodley said, because they do their weekly fighter to watch for this next event, Tyrone Woodley picked Paul Felder to be the fighter to watch for this event Paul's coming in here, though, as an underdog, though, guys. So I just wanted to mention that. This is a huge fight. Paul, every time he comes into a fight, he's there to throw down. Great leg kicks. Trinaldo has great leg kicks. It's going to be one hell of a fight. After that, though, Ted, we got Roy Nelson versus Bigfoot. And they're actually selling it as Roy Nelson versus Bigfoot on the TV for the first time. It's not Roy Nelson versus what the hell is his real name?
Antonio Silva.
Yeah, Antonio Silva. They're promoting it as Bigfoot.
Right. Nah, I mean Bigfoot Silva. Yeah. Oh, you mean he's fighting Sasquatch? Oh.
That's what they're saying. Well, that's not what they're saying, but they're saying Roy Nelson versus Bigfoot. And I've never seen him do it like that before.
Oh, okay. I guess they figure really the only people who are going to be watching this fight are the hardcores like us, and we know who Bigfoot is.
Yeah. Well, with a name like Bigfoot, it might attract a newer audience if they don't know who Bigfoot is. Of course, if you don't know who Bigfoot is, he beat Fedor at one point. He's actually been on one hell of a loss streak lately, though. He just got knocked out after 17 seconds for Stefan Struve a couple months back. So if he loses here, Ted, what do you think is going to happen to him?
What will this put it at? How many losses in a row?
Well, how many losses in a row would it be in the first round? I think he had 4 losses in the first round in his last 5 fights. So if he loses this fight again, I think they might book him off from Coconut Creek back to Brazil. I don't know.
Wow, because he's been in the UFC for quite a while.
Yeah, he actually has that disease. What's the name of that disease? Giantitis, right?
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah, where because if you look at his face, he has an elongated face, and I think Andre the Giant had it, and Giant Baba, who was a professional wrestler in Japan, he had the same disease.
Yeah, man, it's going to be one hell of a fight. Roy Nelson, of course, his last fight was against Derek Lewis in that crazy back-and-forth battle that a lot of people thought Roy won, a lot of people thought Derek won. This is going to be one hell of a fight, though, especially this card's for free and all these big names that are on it, Ted. What's going on in the chat room?
Oh, I was just saying bye to Jody. I spelled her name wrong, too. I spelled it Japodi instead of Jody.
Well, thank you so much, Jody, tonight for giving us that live update. I really do appreciate that. I hope you have a great night. We'll be talking to you later tonight. Shout out to the rest of the Pure Evil Army. Jody's really the glue. Jody's like the mama bear holding everyone together.
Mama bear.
The mama minion in the Pure Evil Army soldiers.
So yeah, you were saying that, or you were I got to tell you, I'm just got to be totally honest with you, Eddie. When I see Nelson versus Bigfoot, I mean, in one sense, I'm not really excited about it because I don't think either one of these guys is going to make a run at the title. But other than that, it's a fun fight because somebody's going to get knocked out. I don't think it's going to go past the first round. These guys are going to throw down, and somebody's. I mean, I don't like to see. I hate to hear about people getting knocked out, but on the other hand, it's going to be an exciting fight.
Well, yeah,
that's what excites me. You know, it's going to be an exciting fight. It's going to be a fun fight. Who cares? In the end, who cares whether they're going to go for the title or not? It's 2 guys that are going to throw down.
And I'm going to say it again, Ted. We have been absolutely spoiled lately with these free cards. These are A-listers in my book for the UFC. Paul Felder, Trinaldo, Roy Nelson, Bigfoot Silva. Getting into the co-main event, Renan Barão versus Philip Nover. I actually got to speak with Philip Nover, the RN. That is on Cage-Side Submission, so if there's any new listeners out there that want to check that out, just search on iTunes Cage-Side Submissions, and that is the episode 2 weeks ago, so definitely check it out. He seems like he's pumped up and ready here, that a lot of the pressure, he's saying, is on Barão here.
Well, Barão has lost his last 2, so I would say there is some pressure on Barão. I mean, that guy was a killer. He was the interim champion. He was the bantamweight. He had the regular title too. I remember he actually defended the bantamweight title. And and he was the champion. And then T.J. Dillashaw came along, but
Yeah.
Barao was he had one hell of a run, one hell of a win streak going there. So hopefully this is a return to the Barao of old. You know, the absolute killer.
Well, that's what we were all expecting in his last fight against Jeremy Stevens. And then, of course, at the weigh-ins, then Barao kind of walked into him and Stevens shoved him and he went flying. And we were like, uh-oh. Because remember, Barao moved up a weight class.
Oh, hold on a sec. Brooklyn Elite says, do we want a Wonder Boy interview? Do we ever? I'm sure he will email me. Please, he just got to Long Island. I will see him at the gym. I mean, Brooklyn, if you can set that up, absolutely. We would love to talk with Wonder Boy.
Man, I would die to talk to Wonder Boy.
Heck yes.
Rep to Brooklyn. Shout out to the East Coast.
That's very interesting. I guess he's traveling around to different places, Wonder Boy, because I know he trains at TriStar in Quebec. But you know these fighters, sometimes they'll jump to another camp for a couple weeks,
and that's good.
Get a different look.
Sometimes you might feel plateaued somewhere, you know.
Sure. Yeah. You get with some different fighters, get some different looks. So maybe that's what's going on, or maybe he's doing like a seminar or something too. I don't know. But Brooklyn, if you can do that, if you can help us out, that would be awesome.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. And also, hopefully I'll be talking with another UFC fighter that is going to be on this card. I don't want to announce it yet, but I've been talking with them. So make sure you guys follow me and Ted both on Twitter and on Facebook, but mostly on Twitter. You can find me at evil_echo. That's EVIL_ECCO. And of course, you can find this guy right up here on Twitter as well. He's been getting on a little more lately, so you can find him at Ted Check. That's not CHUCH. That's TEDCZECH.
That's Rhonda.
Ted, I want to know what some of our listeners think. Me and you have been working on making somewhat of an intro for our podcast. What are some suggestions for kinds of music that you guys would like to hear as our intro theme music? I just throwing it out there. Any recommendations, just hit us up in the chat room. But yeah, Ted, Hedin Barao versus Philip Nover. What's your pick here?
Barao. Definitely Barao.
You didn't even have to think about it. Damn.
No, yeah. I mean, Nover. I think back to a couple years ago when Nover was in Bellator and he took on, oh my God, Daryl Horcher. Whew. Took on Daryl Horcher. Daryl Horcher, the guy who jumped in and took on Habib Nurmagomedov on short notice.
Great fighter.
Daryl Horcher has some hands of stone. Nover's technique was to take him down repeatedly. He's probably gonna try that with Barao, but I don't think he's gonna succeed. That's gonna be his game plan. Barao's just gonna just kick him and kick him and kick him.
And he's unpredictable too. You got to watch out for Barao. He was looking sharp in the Jeremy Stevens fight and proved that he has a chin, if you ask me. I mean, he was just landing crazy shots on Barao, and he was just eating them back and forth. He was hungry to really make his comeback. I mean,
well, I think it starts here. I think it starts here with Nover. I mean, no offense to Nover. He's from the East Coast. He's in New York, and it's awesome. That he's a nurse. He's an emergency room nurse. So is my wife. So
is my mom.
That's awesome. But I'm just saying, looking at it objectively, I think Barao's going to win.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that. Of course, Nover coming in this as the underdog. That reminds me of a cool little fact, and I announced this on the podcast to all my listeners the second time, but I had to tell you, Ted, because it just stood out to me. Of the last 28 UFC main event underdogs, 14 of them won using closing lines.
So 50%.
Yeah. How crazy is that? Half.
Oh.
Right down the middle.
Wow. That is amazing.
Yeah, that was definitely a little fun fact to throw out there. But yeah,
Well,
so getting into our main event, unless there was anything else that you wanted to say on there, I was just turning the page.
no. With main event. You mean Cyborg versus Landsberg?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. I go ahead.
Well, we touched on it at the beginning,
Yeah.
but I'm going to give you my prediction really quick
All right.
on
Let's
this. I think that this fight, you guys might actually see Cyborg go into a second round with Landsberg. I think Landsberg is going to have a game plan here and really put on a show. Cyborg having a little trouble with the weight. We don't know what to really expect from her because of that. But every time she goes in there, she has hands of concrete, hands of stone, like you just said. That was just stuck in my head. But her ground and pound is absolutely vicious, but you have to watch out for the elbows of the elbow princess. So I'm interested to see what happens here. Of course, a lot of fighters have tried this in the past with Cyborg, trying to get her in the clinch. She just breaks right out of it and just throws these solid punches that just drop girls. And I'm just interested to see what happens here because of the last fight. She was a little more patient than normal. Even though it had ended in one exchange, she was a little more patient than we would usually see in a Chris Cyborg fight. And we've seen Cyborg lose before in the past against a Muay Thai fighter of Jarena Bars. We have a kickboxer here of Landsberg. It's just my thought, but I think Cyborg's going to pull out the win.
Well, that's good that we're talking about a maturity in Cyborg. Then having a what do they call that, fighter IQ. A fighter who's smart in the cage. And so Ann says anything heavy metal music. I personally like what we have right now.
Yeah, which is pretty heavy metal. I mean,
Yep.
I was even thinking about writing our own song because I play guitar. So I just wanted to kind of get like your guys' output. And of course, I've been in a metal band my whole life, so I'm gonna of course root on for the metal. But I just wanted everyone's take on it because some people are like,
I grew up in the '80s, so I mean I grew up on Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and all that stuff. I went to all those shows.
That's badass. Yeah, my mom's a huge Grateful Dead fan, like Creedence Stillwater, and then my dad's a heavy rocker. And I've been to like 12 or 13 Ozfests over here in Hartford.
Wow.
So I saw Ozzy's last Ozfest a couple years back. And even the year that he wasn't toward they actually still called it Ozfest. But yeah, always getting the VIP there. So always puts on a great show. I got the heavy metal in my heart and a little hippie, so it's like a perfect little mix right there.
That's great.
And then, of course,
I've got no hippie in me.
And then, of course, I play my own music, so of course I dabble in other kind of genres. So I was just interested to see what you guys thought, what kind of a theme song you wanted, what you kind of think of an intro when you think of Evil and Intoxicated. So this is a fan interactive show, so I thought I'd put this in your hands as well, guys.
Well, I mean, there's nothing saying that we can't do a song. You know what I mean? I used to sing a little bit, so and you do too, right?
Yeah, well, I've been the lead singer of a band since I was 14 years old.
Oh wow, man! Oh, all right.
Yeah, you guys, a lot of my listeners have heard my band. This is Life, and actually, our logo was an MMA fighter in half guard pounding someone. That was from back in high school. That band right there.
Oh, is that right? Oh, nice.
Yeah, man, way back when. Well, not really way back when at all, but still. Yeah, man. So, what were you about to say, Ted?
I was gonna say, what was the name of the band? The name of the band wasn't Half Guard, was it?
No. It's called This Is Life.
This is Life. Okay.
This is Life. Yeah, the link's actually on my Twitter page, so you guys can check that out. I post it all the time. Yeah. So anyway, Ted, UFC second event now with Chris Cyborg. And does she bring one hell of a show? The question is, though, when are they going to open up this other division for her? You have her as a champion right now at 145 pounds. Are they going to open it or not?
I think Dana White just said he wasn't going to do it. He said no, I'm not going to do 145. He said maybe 125, but not 145.
Do you like to see that?
Stuck.
I wouldn't mind seeing the 125 at all.
I mean, how many times are they going to give her fights at 140?
And she even said it tonight, man. She wants those super fights. But if you want to fight, Ronda Rousey and all these other fighters with the big names in that division, they're not going to want to move up to your weight class.
It's 5 more pounds. She needs to lose 5 more.
And a lot of people don't realize how much that 5 pounds really is in making a difference in your
I mean,
fight.
she's a big girl.
Oh
She's a
yeah.
big girl. You
Oh
know?
yeah. And
Um,
Ted, getting back into it where we left off, Cyborg going in there being more of a mature fighter, definitely, because I think that she learned from Ronda Rousey's mistake. There was a lot on Ronda Rousey having to go in there and finish the fight within that first round. If you went outside the first round with Ronda Rousey, you were in uncharted territory. So I think Cyborg kind of learned from that. Like, I can't keep that expectation. Of course, she's going to go in there and scrap, but we saw a little bit of difference in that first debut fight. So I hope we do see her come out with a win here. But good luck to Landsberg, and thank you for taking this fight, because it's going to be one hell of a show.
yeah, I mean, heck, I'm watching. Free is for me, you know?
It's for me. So I don't want to keep anybody up too late. Ted, are you going to say Cyborg is going to win this fight?
Yeah, I am. I'm saying it.
I don't think we really needed a guess at that. Everyone's
No,
saying
but
Cyborg.
I'm interested to see. I mean, because I'm envisioning Cyborg on top, but you can't really throw too many elbows. It's more difficult to throw elbows when you're on bottom. So Landsberg, it's going to be tough.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's going to be a tough fight for her.
But if she wins, the reward is huge.
Oh my God. Oh, I would be a huge upset, I think.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. So all right, guys, we're gonna get into the fun segment, and you guys had a little time to think about it. What 5 fighters would you have on your side in the apocalypse if they were active UFC fighters and you had to go out there and, you know, defend your family? What 5 fighters would you pick? Ted, I asked you this question last night, and when you give your answer, I want to hear why. Like, why did you pick this person?
Oh, Eddie, I've got why. I've
All
got
right.
why right here. I'm going to tell you. You want mine first?
Yeah, throw one fighter out there for us.
Just one? Okay.
Yeah, throw one and why.
Okay, top of the list. Number 1 is Tim Kennedy. Why? Because he's a Green Beret. He's a sniper. He has training. I was listening to this. He's not a ranger per se, but he has ranger training. I mean, he's a military badass, and he's also a survivalist. So he can hunt, and he can grow crops, and that's very important in the apocalypse, right?
Oh, that's huge.
You've got to be what do they call that? Subsistence. You got to be able to provide your own food. You're not gonna be able to go to the supermarket.
And you got to be very frugal too.
Right. So he knows how to operate any type of gun, any type of bladed instrument. So Tim Kennedy's number 1 for me.
Dude, that's the number 1 person on my list too.
Yeah, I mean, fighting is great, but this guy, is Tim Kennedy has said, fighting is his hobby. He's got a business called Sheepdog Response, where he teaches law enforcement and also civilians on it's like a crash course in shooting. And he mixes it in with MMA and some philosophy. The whole idea of the sheepdog. Have you heard this? The philosophy of the sheepdog?
No.
Okay. Most people are sheep. Okay. Meaning that and then there's the sheepdogs, and those are the protectors.
Okay.
And the sheepdogs protect the sheep from the wolves, and the wolves are the bad guys. So Sheepdog Response, he's training law enforcement officers to, up their game in their duties as protectors of society, but also civilians like ourselves. We have families to protect.
Yeah.
So he trains civilians as well. So that's like his love, his passion is that, and MMA is just his hobby.
Well, dude, he's dealing with some crazy shit too. I heard with like some ISIS or whatever, giving them death threats. But
oh yeah, and he's like, come and get me.
Yeah, dude, he's totally badass. And if you look at some of his videos that he makes like on Instagram, he shows everybody like his arsenal of guns that he has, his collection. And dude, he has some antique. Dude, I would not want to mess with Tim Kennedy. So that's a perfect person to put at number 1 for that space. I also thought here, Ted, that you'd kind of want a bigger guy on your team as well. Not only do you want somebody like Tim Kennedy, but you want a bigger guy just in case you find yourself in a little trouble with more than one person. So I picked Mark Hunt. I'd want Mark Hunt on my side.
There you go, Mark Hunt. Yeah, sure. Yeah, and you said bigger guy. What if you need to deadlift something that's like 500 pounds?
Not only that, you want a bigger guy with cardio, and that's another reason why I picked Mark Hunt. I think he has great cardio.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking about Brock Lesnar, but I feel like he's not too much of a team member. I think Brock's not as much of a team member as Mark Hunt would be for my squad, at least.
Brock's kind of out for Brock.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, you need team players. I agree with you. And yeah, Mark Hunt's gone 5 rounds before, right? So you wouldn't look at the guy. He's a bigger dude. He's kind of he's carrying a little bit of weight, but surprisingly, he has great cardio. I like that. I didn't pick him for my team, but I like that. I like that selection.
Hell yeah, brother! I put a little thought into it. Just a little bit of thought, just a little bit.
little bit.
So who ranks as number 2 on Ted's squad?
I had a heavyweight, Stipe Miocic. Again, I wanted a bigger dude on the team, 6'4", 250, 245, 250. If you need something, you got to lift the back end of a truck or whatever.
Yeah,
he can do it for you.
Hey, Stipe.
Yeah. Plus, he's funny. If
he
you
is
saw
funny.
You saw that last Embedded. Where he was just like hanging up on like stupid stuff. That's my humor.
That was his wife, right? He was hanging up on his wife. She kept calling him back.
Some other guy, and just like stupid humor.
He'd call her and be like, "Hey, babe, guess what? You'll never believe this," and then just hang up.
Yeah. So you're in the apocalypse. You're probably going to be holed up somewhere for a while. You want somebody that's going to lift your spirits. Stipe's the guy to do that. He's the guy that's going to keep you laughing. Plus, he's got that raspy voice. Like people are calling him Stone Cold Stipe, because he kind of sounds a little bit like Stone Cold Steve Austin, just without the Texas accent. But so he's an entertaining guy as well.
And a lot of people would say that before this year, especially, that you wouldn't hear, if we did the segment a year ago, you would probably have a different answer, because this year Stipe has really come out to shine. His real personality, we're starting to understand who Stipe is. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I totally agree with you. He's really coming into his own. That Embedded series did a lot, I think, for him. Plus, fighting in front of Cleveland, and just to see how much they appreciate him and how much he appreciates them. That close relationship that he has. I saw something. I think it was. I don't know if it was on his Instagram or Facebook or whatever. Like, he's like, if anybody sends me anything, please send. I read all the fan mail. Send it to me at his academy. I think it's Strong Style in Ohio. Anyway, so yeah, what do you have for number 3?
So number 3, I thought it would be a good idea to bring a girl.
Dude, you totally read my mind. That's exactly what I have for number 3. I got a woman.
So I thought, what better person to have in the Pure Evil Army soldier squad as Jessica Evil Eye?
Oh, okay. All right.
Evil Eddie and Evil Eye. I mean, come on.
Ah, yeah.
Maybe we can even make a little guy. We can have a little guy.
Well,
I'm getting too lonely, bro. I'm getting too lonely too quick, huh?
check it out, though, dude. No, I like the way you're thinking, because if we're talking about the apocalypse,
yeah.
you don't know who else is out there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It could be you that carries on the human race.
And of course, we'd be rolling on our Harley Davidson, of course, in the front of the pack. Me, Jessica Evil Eye. I got Mark Hunt. I got Tim Kennedy. Wait till you hear the rest of my crew.
So it'd be up to you and Jessica to carry on the human race. I think you're up for the challenge.
Oh, hell yeah. So who did you pick for your number 3, Ted?
I picked Misha Tate.
Why?
Because she's a sweetheart.
She is.
She's a sweetheart. She's tough. She's a giving person. She's a giver.
She keeps it 100.
she's a giver, like that thing where the
She's a
little girl.
nurturer.
Yeah, she's a nurturer.
Yeah.
The little girl broke her arm, and Misha Tate says, "Oh, I'll carry her down the mountain."
I think we brought that up on last week's show. We were talking about that.
So there you go. So
Exactly.
she's not out for Misha. She's out for the good of the group, and also, all right, you're gonna call me a misogynist, but you know what? She's not that bad to look at, and dudes need to. I don't want to just look at dudes. If I'm gonna be in the apocalypse, I don't just want to look at dudes. So there you go.
And at least she enjoys hiking, we found out. She was hiking up that freaking mountain, and she can carry somebody on her back down it. So that's a good pick, Ted, for number 3. Number 4, I thought John Dodson would be a good person to have in there, to be a little sneaky. You know what I mean? In case I need supplies, I send John Dodson out.
Oh, hey, that's good. That's a good one. I like that. I didn't think of that I would need a little guy.
Yeah, come on. I put a little thought, just a little bit of thought. Just a little bit.
Little guy. Yeah, he's like a little ninja guy. He does all the parkour kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, for me, here's one out of left field. Here's a crazy one. I picked Patrick Cummins because he can make a good cup of coffee.
All right. There you go.
Right? Because he used to. Do you remember that story? He was a barista. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
That's him. I love this story. He's working at a coffee shop, right? And his manager comes into the coffee shop and says, "Yo, I got was it Dana White?" He's like, "I got the UFC on the line. I got the UFC on the line." And Patrick Cummins' manager says, "Get the hell out of here!" Right? Kicks the guy out. So the guy gets in his car, drives around in the drive-through. Cummins says, "Oh, can I help you?" And the manager goes, "Here, talk to the UFC," and he does. And then when he gets done with the phone, he says, "Yeah, I'll fight for sure." Gives the phone back, and then his manager at the coffee shop says, "You're fired."
What?
Yeah.
How? What? That doesn't even make, dude. What?
What? Yeah, but I mean that's but look at the opportunity.
So hold on, this dude said no. He got into his car, drove through the drive-through
just to get access to Pat.
Props to that dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's your boy. That's your boy right there for him to do that.
And Pat Cummins is my boy because he can make a good cup of coffee.
That's important when you're waking up during the apocalypse, man. You want your fresh cup of Joe.
That's right.
So that's a great one. So my last one, my 5th and final one to complete my squad.
Yes.
Cody No Love, I thought, because I feel like if I needed to go out, I'd want to bring, not the smallest guy, not the biggest guy, but somebody who also has knockout power. That might even have a little bow skill. I feel like Cody No Love is like the perfect combat size. You know what I'm talking about? Combat. So I'd bring him out with me. Cody No Love. That's my squad. So I got Tim Kennedy, Cody No Love, Mark Hunt, John Dodson, and Jessica Evil Eye. Pure Evil Squad. What's up?
All right. Okay. Number 5 for me. Yoel Romero. First of all, he's the best pure wrestler in the UFC, so I figure I could probably pick up a few, get a few pointers from the guy. All right. He's fluent in Spanish. You never know when that might come in handy.
That's really, really important. Definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
Also, he plays that weird, that fluty thing. Did you ever see that? It was an embedded. I think it was before he fought in UFC 194.
Didgeridoo?
It looks like it, but it has a different sound. It kind of sounds like a trumpet, but it's like a wooden, curvy instrument. So he could entertain us with the fluty, trumpety thing.
That's great.
Yeah,
I feel like he would be perfect if you were on an island too. He just fits.
Yeah.
So we got some chat room people that made some lists.
So Ann has Cowboy, Paige, Mighty Mouse, Ben Rothwell, and Kane.
Oh, snap.
Pat has Tim Kennedy, Stipe, Jessica, Evil Eye, Nick Diaz and Paige.
Nice.
Brooklyn's got John Jones, Wonderboy, Stipe, Lawler, and Paige. Or he goes Paige Cat or Paige for the night. Yeah, I could go with Paige. I would either Paige or Misha. That's a good one. I forgot about Paige Van Zandt.
You know, I was thinking about having Wonderboy. I think Brooklyn, you said Brooklyn had Wonderboy, John Jones, Bones, Stipe. I like that list, Brooklyn's list. Ann's list. Of course, Cowboy. It was either a toss-up between Tim Kennedy and Cowboy for me.
Yeah.
Like, every person that you pick, you need to, like, think about what duty you would assign them. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And they kind of ran neck and neck.
Like Cowboy, he's like a thrill seeker, so he would figure out like what kind of, in your downtime, what kind of crazy games you could play. Like he would like hitch up a rope. He would like hitch up a rope to something, and you'd have to swing on the rope. He would think up, because he does the wakeboarding and bull riding and whatever. So like he would figure out something crazy to do.
Yeah.
In the downtime.
I like these lists I'm seeing. Kennedy, Stipe, Jessica Evil, Nick Diaz.
Nick Diaz would supply the weed.
I'm not complaining.
I mean, you need to escape every once in a while and just relax. And so he'd be like, oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah, man, definitely. When it came to girls, though, I was like, oh, man, I was starting to get greedy. I almost wanted to bring 2 of them with me.
Hey, listen, remember how you said no Connor? And I agreed with you.
Okay, so we talked about this last night and explained why we talked about no Connor. We went anti-Connor out here.
We did, and I'm a big fan of the guy. But Connor's a one-man army. Like,
exactly.
Connor's out for Connor. Kind of like Brock's out for Brock, we just said. Ronda would be out for Ronda. Connor's out for Connor. Connor's he's gonna be thinking, where's the money buried? I'm gonna go on my own solo treasure hunt and find all the money.
Oh yeah, him and D. Devlin would be out in a second.
I mean, let's face it. Facts are facts. He'd be thinking of himself. He wouldn't be thinking about the group. You got to think about the group.
Yeah, without a doubt here. And, even over him, he's not a good team player either, because I was thinking about having him. Mark Hunt was just the perfect guy to fit if I was bringing a bigger guy with me that had great cardio and just a beast who's frightening to look at.
Right. Yep. Yeah. If you needed something broken, he'll break it for you.
Dude, we got some pretty intimidating squads here.
Yeah.
I hope you guys don't have to run into me in my squad, Ted.
Oh, and Ann says, Paige for the Karate Kid style. That's right, because she had that flying switch kick.
Yeah, imagine.
Kick butt and have a dance off. That's it. Yeah, Paige. If you want some entertainment, she could do a Dancing with the Stars thing for you.
Put Paige in like a little Tarzan dress, dude. Hell yeah. Right though, you're in Apocalypse. You make her a little Tarzan dress. Pig ties. No, she looks like the Dukes of Hazzard girl. You know what I mean? Like
Daisy Duke.
Daisy Duke. A mix between her and Cindy Brady.
And saying Mighty Mouse. Yeah, Mighty Mouse. I would take him.
Oh, that's why I said John Dodson.
John Dodson, Mighty Mouse. Oh, check it out. As an honorable mention, Adam Milstead, who I think he's only had one fight in the UFC so far, but he's a training partner. He's training partners with Stipe Miocic. He's a heavyweight, kind of out of the Pittsburgh area. He is a very very good singer. So that would be another one. He's a good country singer.
Is that who we were trying to have on our show here?
Yeah, I've been trying to get him on the show because I want him to, we'll talk to him for a while, and this is the way I envision it. Talk to him for a while and then have him break out the acoustic guitar and just go, because he's got a fantastic voice. He does this version of Wonderwall. It's that old Oasis song.
Yeah, of course we know Wonderwall.
Yeah. So he does a fantastic version of it. So Adam Milstead, big dude, and can entertain you in the downtime. when you're not killing zombies.
Oh, I'm totally down for it. So, Ted, before we leave this topic, I want to ask you, who would be your villain? Like, who would be your rival here? Who would be the leader rival if a UFC fighter? Who's the rival?
Oh, it'd definitely be Ronda.
The rival squad. Ronda.
Well, Ronda and John Jones.
Yeah? Ronda and John Jones.
Oh, for sure. I just watched that clip the other day. You remember back when she was on The Ultimate Fighter, and Edmund Tarverdyan was, looking at Dennis Hallman, and Dennis Hallman's like, "We can go right now. You want to go right now? Let's go right now." And then Ronda's like, "Hey, you can't do that. Don't, She's like, "Be a professional. Be a professional."
Wait, do that one more time. One more time, Ted.
Be a professional. Yeah, she saw what was happening. Like, Hallman goes into the room where the cage is, and Edmund's following him, and she's like about 15 feet behind, and she does this like shuffle kind of thing. She kind of just runs ahead because she gets in between them, and she goes right up to Dennis Hallman. She's like,
I remember.
"Now's not the time. Dude, be a professional." It gets right in his face. Hallman's like, "The guy's looking at me and wants to go. I'm ready to go." So
before I forget, Ted, we were talking about it last week. Did you find out if Ronda blocked you?
Oh, if Ronda did.
That's how we left off last week. We were like, next week we're going to find out if Ted's blocked by Ronda.
Oh, I know, because oh my God, I should be, with the amount of videos I've done on her. That's right, yeah, because the one I did when
Beck Rawlings.
No, the Beck Rawlings video, but I did one when Ronda, when it was still just a rumor if Ronda was dating Travis Brown.
Oh, okay.
Because
Travis had a wife.
He had a wife. I think he still does.
Yeah, that's a dirty move on his part, man. I don't like that.
Right, and there were those allegations that he had beaten her.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's right.
So people were like, "Oh, Ronda, not only are you fooling around with a dude who's actually still technically married, but he is allegedly a wife beater. So how do you feel about that, Ronda? So there was that whole mess.
Yeah, man, it was really quiet this week. I was really trying to figure out what was going on there with their camp. Of course, we were talking about it last week, and there's been no news on Edmund Tarverdyan, Travis Brown, or Ronda Rousey this week at all. And I'm really interested to find out what their take on it. How they're dealing with it right now. So I'm looking forward to that. But I heard rumors that Ronda might be fighting before the end of the year. But
I've heard that.
Then you hear rumors that it's not happening. It's just back and forth.
Yeah, like Don Fry. The Predator Don Fry is like, she's never going to fight again. Don Fry just says shit, But I don't know what to believe, Other than Edmund, wasn't there something about he thinks he can take Jose Aldo?
Oh, God.
I saw that headline on Reddit. That he thinks he can take him, and then somebody's like, "Well, take a look at this clip," and he's kind of doing a little hitting the mitts, and it's doesn't look all that great. Not that I could do a better job, but
Yeah, man, my rival for the apocalypse, as we finish this segment and go towards the closing of the show, my rival would definitely be Luke Rockhold. I just never mixed well with his personality. I think he would be a good villain character. I don't know.
So wait.
I don't want to be mean and lose an interview somewhere in the future with him, but he's just my rival villain, I guess. I don't know.
So he's gonna saunter up to Jessica Evil Eye, and he's gonna go,
"Oh,
you spit or swallow, girl."
Oh, dude.
he said on the Millionaire Matchmaker, "Spit or swallow, girl."
Crazy.
Nice.
Yeah, he's dating Demi Lovato, and apparently news Luke Rockhold this week getting a modeling deal.
He was talking about that, yeah, but is he still getting it, or because he was saying, well, if the UFC doesn't make me the right offer, then I'll just go full-time modeling or something. No, that's right. He did do a photo shoot for some magazine or something.
And of course, we have Alan Jabon who does the same thing, and it's kind of the same thing because you got to do weight cuts for your photo shoots. He was telling.
Right, Jabon also doesn't Mr. Finland, what's his name, Makwan Amirkhani. I think he's a model too.
Okay.
You know, his nickname is Mr. Finland.
Mm-hmm.
And then what about that guy? Oh God, what is his? There's another guy too that I think does some of that. Theodoru was his last name, right?
Elias?
Elias Theodoru. Isn't he a model too?
I think you're right, actually.
Modeling, modeling. We are modeling, modeling. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, and saying Rothwell. Rothwell because he punched the crap out of
Oh
him.
yeah, Big Ben Rothwell's evil laugh too. Like you'd hear it in the distance. Yeah, you'd hear it in the distance. You'd have to prepare your crew.
And that little shuffle he does. Ha, ha, he, ha, 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 he. Remember that one time? Who did he knock out? Overeem?
I think so. Yeah, he did that
think
weird.
it was knocked out Overeem. He was like, hoo, hoo, ha, ha, he,
Yeah, he did that weird thing. Yeah. No, I like Derek Lewis. I like how he does that weird, like, does that Derek Lewis when the Black Beast. So yeah, man, that would be my rival here. Ted, I had a great night with you, man, and of course I'm gonna be lonely tonight. So of course you told me at the beginning of the show, I only wanted to make it an hour, but I kind of tried to stretch you out as long as I could.
That's all right, no problem, Eddie.
I was looking forward to this episode, man. Of course, every Wednesday night, if we have any new listeners right now, we do the show every Wednesday night. We always have a fun time. We always try to do fun little segments like we just did with, the zombie apocalypse. Next week we'll have another idea. So, and if you guys have any suggestions yourself, definitely let us know because this show is all about you guys. Me and Ted want to hear what you guys think because it helps us with our work as MMA correspondents. And not only that, just, I love how everyone has their opinions and nobody's like, no, there's no way. There's no way. I hate that. I hate when people do that. A lot of mature MMA fans here, so I love that.
Yeah, all the opinions are welcome. I mean, that's what this is. This is a forum for people's thoughts and ideas and opinions. So.
And Ted, next week's going to be our lucky episode number 15, brother.
Well, lucky 15!
And of course, I'm going to be uploading this audio version up onto SoundCloud. I'll be posting on my Twitter at evil_echo. So make sure you guys follow me and Ted on Twitter. You can follow me at evil_echo. That's EVIL_ECCO. You can find that guy right up above me, Ted Check, the infamous YouTube superstar, Ted Check, at Ted Check. That's not CHECH. That's TEDCZECH. So don't mix it up. That's just like the Czech Republic. Not only that, guys, I'm on Instagram as well and Periscope. I do Facebook Live, so I'm everywhere. You guys know the social media rounds. I always like having fun no matter where I am. Snapchat. Sammy has a Snapchat. Shout out to Sammy for winning this week. It was an exciting weekend with UFC Hidalgo. A great card to review with you, Ted, so I had fun doing that. Fun talking about BJ Penn. We talked about Chael Sonnen, all the big news. What was your number one favorite news that came out of this week in MMA?
Number one favorite news? I mean, Sonnen was big. This whole mess with Conor McGregor, that was pretty crazy. We still don't know. That's still kind of a question mark there, right? So that to me is like the top news.
And before I log out, I wrote a couple things down before I came on today.
I'm sorry, Eddie.
No, it's fine. Go.
Sam asked this question before, and I meant to mention it. He's asking again, what do we think about Legacy and RFA merging? Did you hear about that?
That's huge news for the UFC. Of course, them signing with Fight Pass. I heard that there were some problems with Legacy. Their checks are bouncing or something like that. I heard recently. But yeah, man, I think it was Ed Herman that came on and broke that news on the MMA Hour.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Oh, Ed Shortfuse Herman, the fighter?
I don't know. I think it was Ed Herman. I thought that's what I heard. I don't think it's the fighter. No, not the fighter. It can't be the fighter. He was on the MMA Hour. Someone in the chat room will let us know right now.
So Sam was saying, what do we think about the Legacy RFA merger, and then the UFC hiring former president of Legacy, Mick Maynard, as the new matchmaker for
Forgot about that.
Yeah, that's pretty. It's all interesting and it's big news. I guess we just I was going to do a video on it, but I mean that's significant because you think, well, you've got two, somewhat decent-sized organizations. So if they merge together, does that mean that they're going to be that much bigger, or because you're combining two rosters, does that mean they're going to be more powerful? Are they going to? I don't know what kind of a deal do they have right now? Do they? You say they're on Fight Pass?
Yeah, they're on Fight Pass, and you know what? That also is a huge thing because it makes it so much more simple instead of because you never know what channel all these different promotions are on. If it's just on Fight Pass, you pay what $6 a month for it. You have all of you have Invicta. What else do you have on there? You have a whole bunch of other promotions on there, and it's all in one place. That's a huge thing.
Right, and
It's
I could see
convenient.
the UFC using that as like a feeder organization, like an official feeder organization
And
for
we've
them.
talked about this, Ted. Explain what that means to some of our listeners that might not know.
Well, kind of like a farm league, like in baseball, where you've got A, AA, AAA, and then the majors. So, if you have somebody that's doing really well in legacy, well, what are they going to call it now? It's I I forget what the new name of it is. It's a combination of the two, legacy and RFA. The new name is a combination of the two. But anyway, if you have somebody that is doing well in this new organization, they're going to get on the UFC's radar because they're LFA. So it's Legacy Fighting Alliance.
Okay.
LFA. Because it was Legacy and Resurrection. Was it Resurrection? Resurrection Fighting Alliance. So now you have Legacy Fighting Alliance. It's the two together. Anyway, so you have somebody who does well in LFA. They're gonna get on the UFC's radar, and then they can maybe make the jump up to the UFC. Rather than the UFC having to, I mean, they'll still probably hunt around the country and around the world for other talent, but this is just another avenue for them to find out about up and coming fighters.
Also, Patty, I forgot his last name. Remind me, but he was just on MMA Hour 2, kind of hinting towards the being signed to the UFC. So congratulations to him. Of course, that's going to be announced in a couple of days. I know Jody was raving about it. But Ted, I had something written down really quick. I asked everybody last week, and I do, our weekly polls on Twitter, getting everybody's opinions on certain subjects. And last week, Ted, me and you asked everybody, who's next for Stipe? And of course, we all know that Stipe is going to be taking a little break for a little while. He has a house he's moving into. Kane actually addressed that if he can't fight Stipe next, that he will fight Verdum again coming to December. So our poll, 73% of you guys said that you want Kane to be fighting Stipe next. 10% of you saying that you thought Verdum deserved the shot, and 17% coming in for JDS, Ted. And we've left JDS out of this discussion, even though he was really impressive with his last win over Ben Rothwell.
Yeah, I can't remember if I said this before, but JDS, I'd like to see him get at least one more win.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, let's have Kane and Verdum fight, and the winner gets Stipe. That hopefully will the timing will be right. Stipe will that will allow Stipe to have some time off. Because Verdum and Kane will have their camps. They'll have to prepare for the fight. They'll have the fight, and then
I pray Kane doesn't get injured again. Pray.
Man, yeah, he does get the injury bug, doesn't he?
Yeah, I don't know what they do over there, AKA, but they got to be careful.
They kick the shit out of each other is what they do.
Well, you got some beasts over there. You got DC, Luke Rockhold, Kane, Bilal Muhammad. There's some killers there, man.
Right. Yep, and this is the other thing real quick about Sammy's saying that former president of Legacy, Mick Maynard, hired as a new matchmaker. I guess the matchmaker who was doing the lower weight classes, Sean Selby, I guess he's not moving up to Joe Silva's position. I guess Mick Maynard is moving to that position. I really don't know much about Maynard. maybe he has a different style of matchmaking than Joe Silva. Some people I've been reading some message boards. Some people are saying they want to see less money fights and more deserving fights. More, let's get the number one contender, to fight the champion. Let's get number 2 to fight number 3 to determine the next contender. That kind of stuff. I don't know what direction they're going to go. The UFC has new owners now. They will determine that. So it's a great day to be an MMA fan. You know what I'm saying?
It's been such a crazy year. 2016, like, I have all my notes, and I know that you do too. I don't know if you keep them or not, man, but I was looking through some of my notes. What a crazy year it's been. Like, there's so much that we forgot about that. It's also huge news.
Yep. Yeah,
like,
man.
Even outside of the UFC, it's just been a great year for MMA in general.
Oh, it has, and yeah, like we didn't even really have time to talk about Ryzen. That's happening this weekend. What else?
It's the start of the tournament, which is going to last how long? A month? 2 months?
Well, I mean, they're having one phase right now, and then I forget when the next one is. It might not be until maybe November, and then it's going to culminate with the New Year's Eve show.
Oh, right.
Every year in Japan, New Year's Eve.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have great news for everybody. I am going to be ringside. I think I announced this last week, but I'm just so excited about it. For World Series of Fighting at the MGM Theater. So I'm looking forward to that. Like crazy.
MGM.
Madison Square Garden.
Oh, MSG.
Oh, yeah, MSG.
Oh, sorry. MGM's over in Vegas. I'm like, oh, you're going to Vegas? Oh, that's awesome, dude.
Oh, yeah, I wish. But, yeah, one more thing I wanted to mention. Cody Nolov saying tonight, Ted, that somebody asked him, what round are you going to knock Dominic Cruz out? And Cody Nolov saying first round.
First round. He's going to catch him. He's got to figure out that fancy footwork, that Dancing with the Stars footwork that Dominic Cruz has.
Yep. So, all right. So that gets us into the end of the show. I'm Evil Eddie from Pure Evil MMA, ProWrestlingAuthority.com. Of course, this was episode number 14 of Evil Intoxicated. I'm going to pass the microphone over to Ted really quick to give any of our new listeners his tags.
Yeah, just hit me up on Twitter, on Facebook, and YouTube. Ted Czech, TEDCZECH, like the Czech Republic. Although I'm told it's Polish, it's not a Czech last name. Go figure. But anyway, yeah. Hit me up, leave a comment on any of my videos on YouTube. I will try to answer you. I try to answer as many as I can. So much appreciated, all the support. Thanks very much, guys, for tonight and for everything that you guys do for us.
Ted, I forgot to tell you that last week after we signed off, I had a lot of requests on Twitter to do more interviews in our shows.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, a lot more requests for me and you to do some interviews. So we should look into that a little bit because it seemed like a lot of people enjoyed that.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I wouldn't mind doing. It's just I don't want. It's very difficult to get a hold of people sometimes. Fighters are very busy.
Yeah.
And I mean, they understand that they need to hype fights and to talk about their careers and stuff like that. But at the same time, they're fighters. And then they have families and et cetera, et cetera. So you and I, we decided the show is going to be driven by us and by
the fans. Yeah.
And if we get interviews, that's the icing on top. That's the cherry on the top of the chocolate shake. Mm-hmm. So but we'll definitely try. Well, and we've been reaching out to people. It's just it's tough, but we'll continue. We'll grind away at it.
Well, of course, remember what happened when we first tried to bring Nick Newell on. We had a little difficulty that first night as well, and that's the problem with having a live show. So you got to make sure that the fighters definitely have time to do it. But yeah, we had a couple of requests to do that, Ted. So we'll look into it and set something up for somewhere down the future. But I really appreciate your guys' comments and what you would like to see from us, because this is about you guys. If I have any listeners right now that aren't watching this live, make sure you guys, without forgetting, subscribe down below And we will have the show every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. live. You will be able to interact with us during the show, shout out any of your questions, ideas, topics while we're talking. The floor is yours, guys. So we look forward to doing this every Wednesday night. And of course, I'm going to have a lonely night tonight without Angie Jab. So I will be going on Twitter, of course, after this to watch the replay of Ultimate Fighter. So if you guys want to join me, keep me company, just search me on Twitter at evil_echo. That's EVIL_ECCO. I go live on Periscope, Facebook, anywhere you want. Evil Eddie's right there. Have a great night, guys. Is there anything else that you wanted to say, Ted, before we sign off?
No, I'm good, man. Eddie, I think you'll be just fine by yourself for one night. The rats will keep you company, so.
Well, I got little Ruby to keep me company. So.
All right. Good old Ruby. So, no problems there, man. And you'll be back before you know it.
All right, and make sure you guys check out the podcast. It's going to be up on SoundCloud, and we will see you guys next week at the same time, 10 p.m. Eastern time. We're out, guys.